Right. How's everybody doing tonight? Happy belated Thanksgiving to any of the Americanos out there. For everyone else, happy Thursday and Friday night. Almost the end of the week and we almost made it. It's been a marathon of streams for me. I'm not used to streaming this many days consecutively, but this is our IAE week. Only happens once a year, so I just got to get in there and dive on in. It's my favorite event of the Star Citizen years, so what can I say? I just got to do it. I got to suck it up and do it. And I apologize for anybody watching last night. I think it was pretty obvious that our energy level was going kind of down, and we were having just such a hard time flying the mall last night. But tonight it's going to be different. I'm all tanked up with turkey, and I'm slamming some energy drinks. So we're going to get through it because tonight is a good one as Crusader and Tumbril take over the conference hall tonight. But before we get into that, I need my Jax update. I want to understand what's going on with Jax McCleary this year. I know it's been a little hit or miss for me, but I'm hoping the storyline will pick up. So let's see what's going on now.
Come on! That was close. So, I kind of crashed my cutter. Well, Bob's cutter. Don't tell Bob. Right into a racer and their trusty Cyclone RC.
Poor Bob.
Yeah. Well, fortunately, the rest of the competitors here agreed not to murder me if I took the incapacitated racer's place in the upcoming heat. Let's see if I can beat my time on the Tumbril test track. Here we go! Woo-hoo! Shit! I'm all right.
It's pretty hard to kill those things. Oh, well, there we go. I kind of like how this year they're incorporating the products of the knight kind of in his misadventures this time around, so I'll give him creativity points on that. But as you can see, he's driving around in the Cyclone, and we should see some Cyclones on the floor tonight, so we'll see how that goes. Well, as they like to do in the main hall, we usually have the largest ships that a manufacturer has that's flyable right now. And so far, Crusader is not disappointing. As we've got the Starlifters greeting us, and the Tumbril Nova tanks in the center. Alright, so C2 is a big bird. It carries the most cargo out of the lineup here, 696 SCUs. So that's more than any other ship that's flyable right now, including the Caterpillar. So really this is the only ship that can challenge the Caterpillar. But its edge over the Caterpillar is, as you can see here, you've got a rear loading ramp and a front loading ramp. So this allows vehicles to drive on and off really easily. And as you can see, a lot of vehicles fit in here. Pretty much any ground vehicle is going to fit in here, and probably more than one of them. So go ahead and climb up here. Me being a space trucker myself, this is one of my favorite ships. Although I still kind of like the Drake Caterpillar's look for some reason as a hauler, but this one is it's a fancier hauler, if you will. You have your components that are serviceable here in the center that you can just open up. There's nice crew accommodations. Pretty much all the Crusader ships have good crew accommodations, so that's another reason why I like the Crusaders. Like I said, I mean, it's not quite up to Origin levels, but it's a lot nicer than Drake, right? As you can see here in our living areas. And also the Crusader style has like these circular corridors and things, so it reminds me a lot of Star Wars. I mean, when we get into the Mercury, I mean, it's pretty much obvious that they're trying to go for a Millennium Falcon look with that ship, but any Crusader ship, if you like Star Wars, except maybe what the ships looked like before they were actually started to get used and got dirty, you probably want something like a Crusader. But yeah, great ships. You guys know I'm a bathroom guy. I really like the placement of the bathroom in this one. You have some level of privacy in between you and your crewmen. Or women. Crewmates, right? That's the preferred politically correct term. I don't understand why this one gives you a lot more privacy than this one. Did somebody just like leave the door open? Nah. Maybe this is a glitch. I'd have to go back and see. Oh, okay, it was just open. Sorry, I'm a dork. But anyway, really great crew accommodations, I think. And let's check out the bridge real quick. Now these are big ships, and as you would imagine, flying one is a little sluggish, but for a ship this size, it maneuvers really well. To me, these are just a joy to fly. Well, if you're a heavy ship guy, and I am. Another thing I like about the Crusader style is it's got that kind of like flight sim look to it. Like it's probably the closest interiors to modern day flight craft that we have today in the real world. As you can see here, it's got a lot of like, let me see if I can zoom in. You know, just a lot of switches. I think the dashboard and layout kind of reminds me of something that might come out of a Boeing or something like that, or an Airbus. I think these are just really cool ships, and you've got, you know, the 2 seats here. So yeah, it's pretty much our C2. We'll talk about the other variants from the outside a little bit. But let's go with the M2, which is the next one in the lineup. This is the military variant of the Hercules Starlifter. It only has a carrying... Well, only, I should say. It's still pretty large. This still carries 522 SUs of cargo. But it trades out some of that additional cargo carrying space for an additional rear turret. And the ships look pretty much the same inside. Like, you can still carry the same amount of ground vehicles on the inside. The big difference here with the M2 is that the bridge has a 3rd seat for an additional gunner. But that's the big difference between these two. And to me, I feel like it's kind of a scam, because if you look on the inside, I mean, they're roughly the same. I don't see, like, what's taking up that extra... like 100 SEU, well, more than 100 that you're getting into C2, but I guess it works. I mean, it's a lot, but you're getting, like I said, that rear turret that should be on the back. There it is, way up there. So I guess that'll help if you're in the heat of battle and, you know, you're being chased, because you're not exactly going to be running away from anybody pretty fast in this. So some defensive measures would help. And here, right here, the big Blackbird. This one here is the... Anyway, the A2 is the bomber of the group. Well, before they released the latest... Well, they announced the latest line of ships. I believe this was the only bomber in the game. It trades out a lot of cargo space for the bombs. It's got 216 SUs of cargo, which is kind of okay, but obviously you're not going to be using this for... you know, your cargo runs. Let's see if we can take a look at the bombs real quick in there, on the inside here. Again, I believe this has got 3 seats. It's got a much larger crew complement, 1 to 8. And, you know, you can just tell it's designed to F stuff up, basically. I mean, those are big bombs with a capital B. And if anybody saw that controversial, what was it, morphologist video? He has some choice words about this ship. But anyway, it's got 2 size 5 gimbal mounts with 2 size 4 Gatlings, 2 size 6 remote turrets, and 3 size 5 remote turrets also, and 1 internal size 10 bomb bay. So it's a big bird for a big price that we'll talk about later on. But yeah, I think this is definitely for your military org types. And speaking of the military, this is the Nova tank from Tumbril. They always market these two together, and I guess it's because, like, in lore, the M2s used to carry these into battle. You know, what can I say about this? It's a tank. The only tank we have in the game. I think it's a pretty cool looking design. I have never served in the military, so I don't know how true to life this might actually be in regards to what a tank might look like. But I think it's a pretty slick design. I haven't had a chance to use mine myself, but everybody tells me these are a lot of fun, so maybe tonight will be the night. Who knows? So it's got one size 5 man turret, 2 size 2 remote turrets, and 2 size 6 missiles, 24 ignite missiles payload. So it's got a lot of missiles on this guy. Should be able to help with the anti-aircraft support for sure. But anyway, I like it. It comes in a lot of different paints that are available. So that's something to look for. But obviously you're going to need probably a C2 to carry this. I can't think of another ship outside of the Hercules lineup that can carry these. And the Herculeses are not cheap ships, but you can definitely work up to all this stuff in game. Make it like your stretch goal, right? Here we can see that we've got the Starfighters, Ion and Inferno, and then the Mercury Starrunner in the middle. Although it seems like they've rebranded that to just the Mercury. Let's talk about the Starfighters first. So these are a joint venture between Crusader and gun manufacturer Bearing. And I think it's probably pretty obvious, as you can see, because these are just basically ships with a big gun. I think the concept was that they wanted a small fighter that could take on capital-sized ships. So they basically were like, hey, let's make a small fighter, even though I think it's considered a heavy fighter, and just strap a big honking gun to it. So these have the largest size cannons in the game, and I guess that's their thing. If you want to be the big gun out there, literally, this is probably the ship for you. The Ion here sports a size 7 laser repeater on it, and 4 size 5 missiles. So when these first came out, they were pretty awesome. I think it's been pretty famously nerfed now, though. So if anybody's going to buy this ship now, you really have to probably think hard about it and see if you really like it. It's not going to be for everybody. I mean, obviously it's designed more for taking on your Idrises or your... although you can use it, you know, for other fighter work too as well. But this is basically like your hit-and-run fighter, in my opinion. I liked it a lot. As a matter of fact, I put out a pretty good video on the Inferno, which we're going to talk about next. Just because, you know, these ships, when they first came out, it was like the rule of cool, I thought. But they've kind of lost favor, I think, with a lot of us. And we're going to have to see what they do to redesign them. So speaking of the Inferno, right here, the Inferno is pretty much the sister to the Ion. The big difference is it's honking a big Gatling gun, size 7, on the front. So it's a ballistic Gatling gun, so obviously some people don't like ballistics because even though they probably hit your hull harder, they will run out of ammo eventually. But one thing that's really nice about these ships is it carries, you know, so much that you're still going to be in a fight for a pretty long time before you've got to reload. So yeah, I would recommend check out my video on this one if you want my impressions on it. I should have thrown a link in the description below, but if not, if you're watching a stream replay, it'll definitely be there. And this is probably the ship that gave me my Crusader bias, the Mercury Starrunner. Okay, looks like we're back to using Starrunner. I don't know why in the sales material it just says Mercury. So I think Starrunner is such a cool name, right? Alright, the Mercury Starrunner is pretty much your Millennium Falcon in the game. It's really a medium cargo ship, but it's also a data runner on the inside. So not too many ships are data runners. If you're not aware in the Star Citizen lore, running data they feel is more secure to run it actually physically than, I guess, over the internet or whatever, where it can be intercepted. Which I guess there's probably some... I could see some reasoning there, right? As to that. This is one of my favorite ships, and actually, like, usually when I'm role-playing in Star Citizen, it's that I'm a captain of a Star Runner with my crew. I've actually named it the Astro, very proud of that. This is pretty much my favorite ship in the game because as somebody who likes to haul cargo and stuff like that, it can carry a decent amount of cargo, but it also carries a decent amount of ground vehicles as well on the inside. It's just a great multi-purpose ship, in my view. So to be specific, it carries 114 SEUs of cargo. It's designed for a crew of 2 to 3 people, and it's got a nice data center in here for all those data runners out there, and You know, professionally, I'm a systems engineer by day, so I love seeing stuff like this as well too. It's probably another reason why I like the ship. You got a nice scanning suite in here, which kind of rivals the one that you would see in a Terrapin. So I think that's pretty cool as well too. The door closed on me so fast. You got two turrets back here. You know, as far as a combat ship goes, it's just okay in my opinion. But if you have two gunners here, it's pretty decent actually. Unfortunately, the weapons that the pilot has are kind of weak in my view. But aside from that, it's pretty decent in combat, and it really handles pretty well. So you can pretty much run from anybody. I probably shouldn't say from anybody, but I've had pretty good luck getting away from people in this. Anyway, crew quarters are pretty much Crusader-like. You got that Star Wars look again. Kind of really reminds me of the Star Wars Corellian ships. The way the Crusader does it. And I think that's done on purpose because obviously they're trying to mimic the Millennium Falcon. I mean, it's pretty obvious here, right? When you have this living space here and you also have a crawl space here that you can hide under the ship. Luckily, somebody's opened that for me because I forgot which chest piece you have to move to open up the bottom deck here. But this is a really great ship. If you want to be Han Solo in the verse, this is your ship. And it's a good moneymaker also. So I don't think it's a bad ship to really save up for. And we'll get more into that in the bad and best buys. But I can't say enough good stuff about a Mercury Starliner. You know, a lot of ships, sometimes you get it to carry a vehicle, but it can't carry a rock or anything like that, and this certainly can. I don't know if it can carry a Nova tank in here. That I don't know. If anybody knows, let me know. But I've had no trouble fitting ground vehicles in here. Usually I can fit like 2 or 3. And as far as the trading goes, you're going to make decent money with 114 SEUs. So to keep it in perspective, wow, I just fell through the ship. Did you guys see that? So crazy. Anyway, to keep it in perspective, that's so Star Citizen, right? So to keep it in perspective, the Constellations carry about 96 SUs of cargo, with the exception of the Taurus, which carries 174, and a Freelancer carries 120, and this carries 114 SUs. So I think that's another reason why I like this ship a lot. It fits really nicely in between all of those, and I feel like it, you know, it maneuvers, in my opinion, a lot better. It looks better, and I just think it's going to have more versatility, especially when you have data running introduced into the game. So I can't say enough. So the Cyclones are for you Halo lovers out there. If you love the Warthogs from Halo, this is the vehicle for you. These sport a all-terrain system with, I believe these are called X-Track tires. It's supposed to be able to roll over anything. This even has the same color scheme as the Warthog. Anyway, it comes in a lot of different variants. I'm going to guess some of them. I'm not the best at guessing all of them. We'll check out the placard here. Okay, so I believe the green one is the TR. I think this one is supposed to be for militia and security use, basically for your rent-a-cops out there. It's got a turret, I believe, on the back. So that makes it kind of unique. So this one can actually hold 3 because most Tumbrils only hold 2. You got a size 6 man turret on this one, so if you're looking for a man turret, this is the one for you. I think this is the AAA. Yeah, it's the AAA, the anti-aircraft one. I thought this used to be the strongest one or most useful one because you could actually like shoot down ships. But I'm not quite sure anymore because the MT, which is right here as well too, is also anti-aircraft, but it looks like it's got the turret on top as well too. So if I'm taking a guess, and I'm not the best combat guy out there, I think the MT is probably the one that I would go with. The only problem with this one is it will not fit into 400i. I've tried to fit this one into 400i and the top rack gets stuck, so that's a bit of a bummer. But I mean, it's got a turret and the surface-to-air missiles, so it's pretty much the combination of the TR and the AA, if you ask me, right? So it's kind of a bummer, right, if you bought those two and then the MT comes out. I don't know, that's my opinion. Let me know what you guys think. Alright, moving along, we got some more Tumbrils to talk about here. Some of my favorites. I believe this is the base one here, the cheapest one also. I don't think it's got any arms on it, except that you can... It should have like a gun rack on the side, I believe. But this is still... All the Tumbrils, in my opinion, are fun to drive. They're pretty fast and pretty maneuverable, and they're not going to get stuck in anything. And it looks like this has some cargo carrying capability. It's got 1 SEU of cargo that can fit back there, so you should be able to get a box back there. So for all you guys who want to be delivery people on the frontier, maybe the base Tumbrils for you. This red one here is the RC. I used to think of it as radio controlled. I'm not sure what RC stands for, but it is the racing variant. For a long time, this was the fastest ground vehicle in the game, but now they're all the same speed, so, you know, that gets kind of a boo for me. I think we need some variation, right? And this is a cool looking one, as you can tell. Definitely made for racing. This is a cool paint job on this one here. Which one is this? Oh, the RN? So I believe the RN is like the Pathfinder one. It's supposed to have a longer range on it. It is. I just had to check that out. It's the light reconnaissance version. It's designed for detailed scanning, so I guess it's like your ground terrapin. So you can go into places really quickly and get your stuff out. It's colored, I guess it's darker colors so that it can sneak into places, maybe? I don't know. I think the other reason why I like the RC, though, is it's got this sporty back here. It kind of reminds me of like a Lamborghini, right? Looks like an all-terrain Lamborghini in the back. Anyway, those are your Tumbrils. Well, the Tumbril Cyclones. Obviously, the tank's a Tumbril as well, too. Alright, this looks like it is going to be the Genesis Starliner, which is a ship I've been waiting for forever. But it doesn't look like it's going to come out anytime soon. So the Starliner is basically your Boeing 747, or, it's like basically an Airbus. It is going to be the passenger transport ship in the verse. Well, the premier one. Obviously, there's a lot of different other ones, but this one carries the most. It's also going to be a decent cargo hauler. So it's going to be able to carry 300 SUs of cargo and about 40 passengers on the inside. So I think I've mentioned this a few times. Like in Elite Dangerous, I really enjoyed passenger running. I used to just get in my beluga, and I used to love doing that. Even dealing with the complaints of the passengers. This is an older design, but it still looks pretty sharp to me. I think it was actually the first Crusader ship announced. I'm not 100% sure. But it looks like it's not coming in anytime soon because the passenger gameplay isn't there yet. But, which I think they could easily implement pretty well. But I think being that it's Star Citizen, they're going to want to be pretty detailed. Maybe they want us to see like every passenger inside the ship and all that stuff. Whereas like if you do it in Elite Dangerous, you don't actually see the passengers in your ship. So that's why they're able to roll out those missions pretty fast. But I think it's a good looking ship. I wouldn't be surprised if this ends up being my profession in the verse. Right now, like, I think trucking is like the main thing I want to do, and I want to moonlight as a combat medic now that Rusty has taken me out with his work and kind of got me into that a little bit. But I just enjoy flying from point A to point B and making money that way. So I think this is a ship I'm really looking forward to. It's got one size 4 turret on it for protection. Basically, it's going to be a modular ship, so you can kit it out. And lore these are used by, everybody from passenger airlines to racing touring companies that fit them for that. And then also, I believe there's a there's like an Air Force One version that the Imperator uses called Imperator One. So anyway, a lot of uses for this one. And it's not just for the wealthy, it can be for the commoners as well too. So really looking forward to this one. I'm kind of wondering, because it carries a crew complement of 1 to 8 people, I wonder if that means we're going to have stewardess in there. But anyway, that's your Genesis Starliner. As much as I like the gameplay, it's kind of tough to say, hey, you should go out there and pledge for this one, because right now it's a concept, and it's been a concept for years, and they really have not given us any indication as to when they're working on this one. So that would be my only knock on this ship right now. I think if you're interested in this one and you want to lock in the price, because it is a heavier price tag for this guy, just because they've, as soon as they announce this ship is going to be released, it's going to come with passenger gameplay, so it's going to be an immediate money maker. So that's the rationale for pricing it pretty high. Maybe you can stash the CCU if you just want to like lock that price in. All right, moving along. What we got over here? Okay, these are the new ships that were just released. Well, just announced. This is the C1 Spirit that we're looking at here, but the Spirit line of ships is going to be 3 different ships. Uh, I I think it could be a modular ship. Technically, it doesn't really have to be 3 separate ships, but I think that's just kind of a cash grab. Um, but just talking about the ship specifically, these are going to be like your medium ships that kind of compete with the Cutlass, Space, and maybe the Freelancer a little bit. The C1 is the cargo variant, and it's a medium freight ship. It carries about 48 SUs of cargo, so it's not huge, but you know, which I guess the name suggests, right? Because we know that the C2 is the Starlifter upstairs, so the C1 would be like your entry level one. What makes these ships a bit unique, though, is that the C1 actually has a tractor beam in the back where the cargo bay is. And by the way, the cargo bay has a cargo ramp, so you're going to be able to drive vehicles up on this one. So that's why I think it's a really good competitor to the Cutlass and the Freelancer. But with that tractor beam, so I mean, I guess you're supposed to be able to recover cargo, but I'm thinking this would be a nice, fancy pirate ship as well, too, right? This is for like your, I don't know, your posh pirates, shall we say, your fancy pirates. Anyway, it's got some pretty decent weapons on it. 2 size 3 hard points on the wings, and then 2 size 2 guns on the nose. And the tractor beam is going to be a size 3. Also, I think worth noting is that there's going to be 2 beds behind the cockpit for the crew, so you're going to be able to log in and out of this ship. I'm really excited for this one. I mean, I'm not going to lie. As soon as it came out, I thought this thing looks cool. It looks like the Mass Effect ship, the Normandy, and I really wanted to get competitor to Cutlass, and this, it's coming from my boys Crusader, so I mean, it looks pretty good, and it's probably going to have Crusader maneuverability, so that's going to be pretty good. Also worth noting, there's going to be an E1 version, so just like how we were talking about the Starliner being a passenger transport, the E1 is the executive transport, so think of it as like a private jet, like a Learjet, so to carry VIPs, maybe for your org, or, just important people, or going back to how Elite Dangerous does passenger missions, like carrying VIPs usually pays more than carrying normal people, so I can see them kind of implementing that system. The E1, what's going to be the trade-off with it is that I can't carry any cargo. I'd only be able to carry like luggage, from what I understand, and it's going to be like, it's going to have, I believe, 6 cubicle partitions on the inside for the passengers. So I'm thinking it's going to be really nice, probably like those reclining fancy seats that you see in like first class on long haul flights and stuff like that. So anyway, I'm looking forward to that. It's supposed to be some panoramic views on that. I think the only ship that kind of does what this ship does is maybe the Constellation Phoenix, so it's going to be nice to see the E1 come in and compete in that space. And then finally, there's going to be a bomber variant also, which I think is kind of compelling for people who want to get into bombing, but they don't want to pay the hefty price tag for the A2. There's going to be an A1 Spirit. So that one's going to carry 10 bombs. I'm imagining much smaller than what the A2 can carry, but for anybody who wants to get into that gameplay, it doesn't really appeal to me, but I'm not really a combat guy. But for your entry-level bombers, maybe that's something to look at. Alright, and now to the Tumbril Ranger bikes, I believe. These are like the Akira bikes of the game. I don't know what's taking so long for these to come out. I guess maybe there's going to have to be some physics with it actually acting like a motorcycle, probably. Because right now, all the vehicles we have are like hover ones. I think once they release these, I mean, I think it'd be a pretty big cash grab. I think everybody's going to want one. And they're pretty reasonably priced. So even though ground vehicles are pretty cheap in game, I could see people, running out and buying these. I know it worked for me. Anyway, though, so the it's going to come in 3 different variants. The CV, which is going to be like the basically like the touring ground edition. It's probably for your biker gangs or people who want to go on like road trips or something like that. Or I don't believe they're 2-seaters. It looks like they're just 1-seaters. So But I can definitely see people and orgs having like biker gangs or biker nights out with this. I think it would just be cool to roll around. And it's gonna also have the RC, which is the racing edition one. You guys probably saw that coming. And then TR, which is like the military variant. It's gonna be more for ground combat. I believe it has one size, one hard point. I'm not sure, to be quite honest. Looks like this is the military variant here that we're looking at. Put the guns up front, so it means business. But yeah, those are your Ranger bikes, and I think that's pretty much going to do it for the haul as well. So why don't we look at... Alright, A1 Spirit, bombing on a budget for 175. First off, I want to say I love the Spirits, and again, I have a Crusader bias, so I'm probably going to be easier on the Crusader lineup of ships than I am on some of the other ones. I think it's a good looking ship, and I think to get into entry level bombing, this is probably nice, but I don't really like the price point at 175, so I think we're going to kick things off with a bad buy. Alrighty. Moving along, we've got the A2 Hercules. This is the big brother, I suppose. I didn't realize the bad buys were still up there. Okay, moving along to the A2 Hercules. Graduating to the massive bomber at a massive price, $750. Yeah, I'm not a fan of this price at all. I think it's terrible. I think it's a terrible cash grab just to get a bomber at a with a black skin on it. So, boo to CIG. Not taking this one at all. Very niche roll, and I can't get behind this price because right now you could probably get a Perseus or another ship that's, I'm not even sure what the Galaxy's gonna be priced at, but I just feel like there's more capable ships out there, and as much as I like the Hercules, I just can't get behind this price tag at all. So this is going to be terrible. This might be the epic bad buy of the show. Maybe I should do that. But steer clear of this one. Just buy it in game. All right, Ares Inferno at $250. This is going to be another bad buy. We don't like this one. Just to be clear, I like the ship, my Crusader bias, but 250 is just, I expect ships at this point to be overpriced, but this one is really overpriced, and especially with the nerfing that's gone on, I really can't get behind the Ares Inferno, so that one's going to be a bad buy. Alright, Ares Ion for the same price and for the same reasons, it's going to be a bad buy. Alright, C1 Spirit at $110. Alright, again, this is probably my Crusader bias that's going to kick in a little bit here. But at 110, I actually think it's a decent price, and stick with me here. A Cutlass is for $100 right now, right? I think this ship is going to be more useful than a Cutlass, and as you can see, I don't know if I'm going to try to zoom in here a little bit. You can see that tractor beam at work there, sucking in cargo. I mean, the Cutlass can't do that. The Freelancer can't do that. So I think that's more functionality that you're getting for just $10. And it's going to be Crusader, so it's probably going to fly better. It's probably going to be more durable. I just think, hands down, I think this is going to crush the Cutlass. So I think it's going to be the medium ship to get in this range. And actually, of the Spirits, I think this is the one that's going to be the best moneymaker for you. So I love the C1 Spirit. It really probably should be an okay buy, but because I'm an Origin fanboy, I'm going to give it a good buy. Didn't mean to laugh track there. But anyway, it's definitely, I think this is the one to get. This might be the only thing that I'm going to recommend out of the Crusader lineup to pledge for. But I don't think you can go wrong with this one. The only thing I guess that is wrong is we don't know when it's going to be released. But at least you'll get a loaner ship in between if you get this one. And if you decide to just do a CCU to hold on to it at this price, I mean, let's say if you have a Cutlass right now, you CCU'd it for 10 bucks. I think that's a good deal. And then when the ship comes out, then you can see if you want to keep it or not, or melt it for a skin or something like that. Who knows? All right, moving along. C2 Hercules at $400. I love this ship, but I don't like the price. $400 is a bit pricey for me. Even though it is the largest cargo hauler in the game, and it's the best one for carrying vehicles around, you could probably, I think the Caterpillar is almost $100 cheaper than this one. So that's another option for you if you want to carry massive amounts of cargo. But again, it's a great ship, so just earn it in game. But save that $400 or spend it on something else, in my view. Anyway, E1 Spirit at $150. I really love this ship. I like the idea of it, and I like the concept of it. But again, it's pretty niche. I don't know how much, how lucrative executive transport is really going to be. And once you get into 150, you know, you're really getting into that range where it's got to be a slam dunk for me. So I'm going to say, I can't say it's okay. It's going to have to slip to a bad buy. Sorry. Sorry, Crusader. I love you, but yeah, it's a bad buy for me. All right, Genesis Starliner at $400. $400. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to have to give this one a bad buy, even though I like the idea of it. I mean, right now it's in concept. We don't know when it's going to be released. I mean, again, I think maybe if you get a cheap CCU to this, maybe that's the only way to do it if you want to lock in that price. But really not crazy about spending that kind of money with that many unknowns. So that's going to be a bad buy. All right, M2 Hercules at $520. Again, we're sliding into that cash grabbiness that we were running into with the A2 that I didn't like. So definitely steer clear of this one. Bad buy. What's going on, studio audience? Ooh. Alright, moving on from the M2 onto a ship that I love, the Mercury Starliner at $260. Again, a little bit overpriced, but stick with me here. And again, I know I got that Crusader bias, but let's say you saved up all your pennies and this is the only ship that you buy. I think you're going to be okay with that. Data running's not in the game yet, but we know that that's a gameplay loop that will be there. But right now it is a capable cargo hauler, and it's also a good vehicle hauler. So let's say if this is the only ship that you bought, you could definitely use this one to buy other ships. So I'm going to give it an okay buy. The only reason why this one is not a good buy, in my opinion, is that it's still overpriced for what it is. But it's a great ship, and I think even though you may say to yourself, hey, I pledged a little bit too much for this, I think over the years while you're using it, you'll still feel like you got some good value out of it. So, but that's just my take. What's yours? All right, I think let's get into some Star Citizen. I think I'm going to rent a Starlifter and see if I can get into some cargo hauling, because it looks like I'm out here by myself. So let's see if we can make some money. Whoa. Oh my gosh.
What happened?
So I got blown out, and then the ship kind of got blown on top of me.
Oh.
There's my Starlifter with 696 SCUs worth of spirits. Oh my gosh. Come back here. Anyway. I think it's probably a sign that it's
yeah.
time to call it.
Mm-hmm.
Bromway's obviously hungry over there, so
Sorry.
let her go. Anyway, guys, thanks for hanging out. I hope that you will stop back for tomorrow as we check out Mist Day. We've learned a lot about Crusader ships. They can take a pounding, apparently.
Yeah.
Anyway, hope you guys are enjoying IAE and the rest of your IAE experience. I'll be back tomorrow for Mist Day and RSI Day after that. 07. Where's my arm? What happened to my arm? There it goes. 07, and I'll see you next time.
Thanks for showing up, everybody. It's been a fun and interesting evening. Morning. Night.